Hello, I'm Rover, and you're about to listen to a chapter of the audio version of my book, The Moongazers, a pirate queer adventure story. This is a 30-chapter series. Are you enjoying this project, and would you like to support me? You can do that by becoming a patron or buy me a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee. Enjoy! Chapter 8. Frey. I am the first to wake up. When I open my eyes, I see Deva, Layla and Kathy lying next to me, sound asleep. Quiet surrounds us. I put on a sweater and quietly open the big wooden trunk that serves as a storage space for our circle. It is stuffed with all kinds of things. The Free headlights, sewing thread, a few pieces of rope, several sets of clothes, a hairbrush, a wooden whistle, and other utensils. It also contains some of my things now, binoculars, and the cup of the SS Opal. Everyone has their own set of cutlery, cup, and plate, and is personally responsible for cleaning and storing it. Layla has a ceramic mug some family members made for her. Deva has an old green thermos and a glittery blue enamel cup. And Kathy has a small red plastic cup. But last night she mentioned that on the next mission she'd like to get something like Deva's set. Having hot water at hand is a real luxury if you can't just switch on the water boiler. Soon enough, I find the anti-nausea brew Layla has put in the trunk for me. The pungent taste fills my mouth and I quickly gulp it down. This is the first day that might end up normal-ish. A day to get back to what I haven't been able to do for days now. My training routine. I go for it first thing in the morning, if I can. On the base, training consisted of running a few laps and then some power exercises. If there was anyone available for a round of sparring, we'd do that. When I lived there, we'd train a lot, but we'd also have classes and challenges. Opening locks, learning languages, decrypting codes, navigating, or using and repairing various kinds of weapons. Torben had developed a taste bordering on the morbid for thinking out obstacle runs that demanded the deployment of our entire range of skills. The one to finish first or perform best would receive a reward. Sometimes Torben would invite powerful men from other cities to watch us climb walls, stalk someone, steal something, putting our skills on display. The reward I asked for every time was to see Tyra, my sister, who had also been adopted by Torben. He had quickly recognized how smart she is and put her in another group. I never really understood exactly what she did there, but just for the chance of seeing her for a minute, I studied hard, learned fast, and won often. I have no idea where Tyra is now, and I miss her. She told me little, only staying on the surface these past years. Sometimes I hoped our conversations were monitored, because the alternative, that she just didn't care about me, hurt. Maybe it was easier for her to forget where she came from, that she still had family. I don't regret leaving with Ray, that Torben is gone, even though I miss being able to see Tyra. Torben was a smart man, but there were some things he hadn't thought through. Obviously, a militia of extremely skilled fighting machines served to protect you and eliminate your enemies. But it had been almost too easy to force open his bedroom door. Everybody in the complex knew us and thought we were doing a simulation. The things we had to do for him, my body shivers when I think about it. Absent-mindedly, I touched the scar on my hand. I had hoped that with Torben gone, Tyra would come looking for me and would want to start a new life with Ray and me. that she'd come along, that she'd grab her chance, that she'd stop being a tool, a means to someone else's ends. But in the days after Torben's death, we heard whispers that she started working for Willem of Brekersand. After all these years of hard work just to be able to see her, she didn't come for me. When all she had to do was pack her bags. But maybe Tyra is no longer the sister I had once known. Maybe she had no interest in returning to that older version of herself, had accepted her role, and was trying to make the best of it. Ray and I promised each other to stick together and use our skills for some good, to punish the people who had made Tyra the way she is. And then, after that, maybe we could find a place in the world, our very own safe haven, where we could be who we are. But now I'm stuck here, and they are all alone. I mean, I know Ray has their survival skills. They'd probably have gone into some forest and done what they do best: disappear into nature. Somewhere there is no judgment, just being. But Ray can also be impatient and let their emotions take over. I hope they manage to keep their cool without me. There's no space to run on this ship. And I also wouldn't want to have my quick steps wake up the entire crew. I find some buckets, lengths of rope, and a piece of timber that I craft into improvised weights, and start a series of squats, push-ups, and lunges. I practice my balance by walking over wooden poles and slink across the deck, trying to be as rapid and noiseless as possible. When I'm moving my body, I don't have to think. No matter how hard life gets, whatever happens, when I'm training, there is only my body. When things get tough, I can always increase my heart rate until it pounds in my ears so loudly it drowns out any other sound. We're going for a training round later on, too, you know, I suddenly hear Deva saying behind me. We're ready to have breakfast. Are you coming? She points at the room below deck, where we always have our meals. I nod and quickly splash some water from a barrel on my face in an effort to freshen up. Deva, Kathy, and Layla are waiting for me with a plate of porridge in their hands. Will you wake us up next time? Kathy says. She has the kind of face that gets all red and puffy in the morning, and she looks at me with sleepy eyes. On this ship, a circle gets up as soon as the first of their members wakes up, Deva says, sighing deeply. That way, we all get up early and maintain the same rhythm. Layla too sighs. What's wrong? I ask. Layla yawns and responds in a flat tone. Ugh, had we known you're such an early bird, we'd have sent you to another circle. It's a bizarre system if you ask me. Can't I just spend some time alone? Am I supposed to merge completely and become one with these people? I could get up later, I try, or I just do my own thing first. Nope, a couple of months ago it was decided that each circle should maintain a uniform rhythm so that members are more in touch with each other. We also go to bed at the same time, which is decided by the person who wants to go to sleep first. Usually, that's Deva. We're going to have to adapt a little now that you're here. Kathy has already brought my cup from downstairs and had taken the Barbie plate from a cupboard again. As we munch on our porridge, Yara approaches us. She's still carrying the rifle on her hip, and again, I wonder whether it actually works. I wonder if any of the weapons on this ship work at all. I had hardly seen any armed crew members since we had gotten off the SS Opal. I decide to investigate today what we have to defend the ship in case we should need to. Who is your representative this week? Yara asks. And what do you need? Layla winks at her. That would be me. And now that you're asking, what we could really need is a couple of hours of sleep. Well, You figure that out amongst yourselves, Layla. But if you need a sleeping potion, you know where to find me. The meeting is tomorrow after dinner. You'll be facilitating. So please come find me later on to discuss the agenda. Leisurely, she walks towards the next unit, sitting around the table with sleepy eyes. I watch her go. What does Yara really do? I ask. She is everywhere, talks to everyone, knows where to find everything, and also took care of me when I arrived here. Yara is like the grease that makes the cogs and wheels of this operation run smoothly, Kathy says animatedly. She listens to what the circles need, Deva adds. She makes sure the meetings run smoothly, has the general overview about everything that's going on, and so she can quickly come up with solutions. If all of us would have to know everything all the time, things could turn chaotic. So she gives orders, I say doubtfully. No, and she's not the boss either, Kathy adds. The crew asked her to take up this role, because in the first weeks we noticed that it was necessary. It's more like she comes up with suggestions. I look at Kathy, who's licking her plate clean. Less dishwashing for me, she grins when she sees the disgust on my face. There may be some distance between us and modernity, I think quietly, but that doesn't mean we should let go of our manners. Layla laughs out loud when she sees me glance at Kathy. You'll have to get used to it, Frey. That's the good thing about the life we're living here. We can be as gross and uncivilized as we want. Deva mutters. As long as you don't hurt the collective with your germs, Kathy, your freedom ends where your neighbor's begins. It is busy on the deck. Curious eyes are fixed on me and the knives strapped to my body. The familiar weight of my weapons gives me a sense of security. Word had spread quickly that I had eliminated 2 men with my knife in less than 5 minutes, which had piqued the interest of the rest of the crew, and now they want to learn this from me. Apparently, circle members can sign up with other circles to learn specific skills, and since yesterday, our circle is in high demand. Deva told me that Kathy had joined our circle this way. She had been with Tech, but had wanted to learn more about defending herself. Now she works half her shifts at Tech, where she's mostly teaching, but her main focus is on self-defense and conquering her fears. Deva and Layla had been overjoyed to have Kathy join their team, because most crew members aren't that interested in learning how to fight, since the greatest threat on the Wickoff came from the water anyway. But today, things are different. Normally, Deva would be in charge of this training, but now we'll do it together. It's reassuring to do something I'm good at on this ship, on which I still don't know entirely how everything works. For an hour, we let everyone sweat with some of the exercises I had already done earlier that morning. Some are fit and fast. Others have difficulty balancing or doing simple exercises. We decide to split the group in 2. The first will learn the basics of self-defense with me, and Deva will teach the second how to hide and look for cover. At halftime, we switch groups. Now that we're in smaller groups, the crew members have lost some of their shyness. They ask me whether I'd let them throw a knife too, and how I've learned that. But I quickly shut that down. I won't let my knives and daggers disappear on the bottom of the sea because some novices don't know how to aim. By way of demonstration, I throw 3 knives into the ship's main mast. Stuck in the wood, they form a perfect, tiny triangle that is rewarded by a round of applause from the onlookers. You can put an end to someone with a knife, I say proudly, encouraged by the positive reaction. I'm about to throw another knife when Jude walks up to the mast, pries my knives loose, and coughs loudly. Not on my ship, Frey, she snarls at me. Right, it might not be such a good idea to throw holes in the mast, that holds up the big sail. Jude gives me back my knives, and with a nod, I put them back in their places. Sorry, I mumble. Jude sticks around and leans against the mast as I explain where and how to strap your knives on, and also why they're a bad choice of weapon if you don't know how to use them. If you throw or use a knife at someone who's faster, stronger, or more skilled than you, you've given your enemy extra weapon to use against you. If you have no other option than to fight, use your knife, but it's always better to look for an escape. Use your wits. If you end up fighting, focus on where it hurts. The face below the eyebrows, the throat, the crotch. I use a volunteer to show these spots on their body. 1 or 2 hard punches there, and you will have time to get away. I see nodding faces that turn progressively more thoughtful when I go into the pain you can cause or how long it can take for someone to bleed to death. I keep going, happily delving into a topic I know well. Before using knives, you have to know your basics. So let's start with a solid defense posture. Jude too participates in this improvised training session. They practice with each other, against each other. Some already have their right jabs figured out. Others are insecure and afraid to hurt each other. One by one, I stop and tell them what I see about their posture, breathing, and technique. After a while, I get a new group and I go through the motions with them as well. We finish with one of Layla's games, in which the objective is to poke each other and defend yourself with your fingers. A large part of the crew runs across the ship, laughing loudly. From my position on the deck, I look at them, surprised and slightly annoyed by the laughter around me. They're not taking their training seriously. They might want to learn, in theory, but only as long as it's playful and doesn't get too real. Deva and Layla are running around, chasing each other. Kathy and a tall woman from tech are crawling on the floor, tickling each other profusely. The entire ship has become one huge playground. Jude runs towards me and pokes me in the ribs twice. She's escaped before I can defend myself, and in spite of myself and my own disapproval, I run after her. Once the chaos has settled, we evaluate the training. Deva asks, again, how I feel about it. Okay, I guess. I just say, why okay and not good? Deva asks. I suppress a sigh of annoyance. Doesn't this drive you completely nuts? All these questions from a superior. Why should she care about my opinions? What am I supposed to do? Share whatever I feel and think with everyone now? I have some questions, I say. What exactly should the crew members be learning? What would be a realistic goal? We have a short discussion about the skills we think would be useful for them to learn. It might also be useful to do a complete checkup of all the firearms we have on the board, in case we need them, I suggest. I ask about the emergency plans on this ship. What if we're raided? What other protocols? This feels familiar. It feels like a way I can make myself useful. Kathy soon disappears into the hold to continue with her tech shift. But Deva, Layla, and I spend the rest of the afternoon discussing and revising plans, thinking of how we can prepare the circle for everything the sea has to offer. I have a moment of doubt about whether I should be helping them like this. I shouldn't even be here. Why would I make an effort to involve myself? I should just be with Frey. But I also know that, should the ship sink, be attacked or destroyed, it would only make me further away from them. After lunch, I search for Kathy. I want to take a look at the part of the ship where the tech people work, to find out what they're up to with all that old technology they're collecting. Eventually, I managed to find her in a big room below the hold. To get there, I go down using a small ladder. The Wyckoff is a big ship, and it is easy to forget that the largest part of her lies below the water. There are some workbenches scattered about, but they're all well hidden underneath stocks of boxes and piles of junks. Cables, sockets, heating elements, lamps, an endless variety of devices. I suppose there hadn't been enough boxes to store everything we took from the SS Opel. A group of 6 people with, to my surprise, 2 men amongst them, is working to sort the tech into several piles. Kathy is sitting at a workbench with an older woman, explaining to her the exact functioning of a battery. 2 others are half listening as they coil up some cables. The piles reach high into the room, and I wonder whether they wouldn't just collapse and fall apart if we get hit by a storm. Wouldn't it just all fly around the ship and smash into pieces? When Kathy sees me, she gets up and shouts, "Lesson's over!" She walks toward me. "So much stuff, right?" she says with a beaming smile. I look at her, point around me, and ask, "Why are you collecting all this?" It makes me think about the houses I've been in after the Great Change. Sometimes their old residents had passed away. Sometimes they'd fled. But all the same, those houses had been stuffed to the brim with worthless things people had thought might come in handy one day. All stolen and scavenged from the streets. Small paths leading through heaps of enormous plasma TVs, bread makers, and chip bags. It used to be a sign that people didn't know how to share. Sometimes you'd enter a house and find actually useful things. Sometimes you'd find a bunch of junk that once had been valuable, but now has no use at all. Well, a while back we discovered that if you make some changes in the tech, some of it works fine again. I look at her in amazement, and she continues. We're studying it, but it doesn't work with everything. We found out that the smaller the system, the more successful we are. We know how to get a headlight working or set up a small circuit for some light. Sometimes we manage to make a slightly bigger system, depending on what we have available. You always need material, and now we have that. She looks at me happily. My father worked with electronics and loved tinkering, and I wasn't too bad at it myself. After the Great Change, I worked for some tech guy who wouldn't accept that nothing worked anymore. He hired lots of people who had some experience with electrics. I learned a whole lot there, but when we found out what the guy intended to do with it once we got the power back on, well, I just didn't want to be part of that, and neither did my dad. When I had learned to repair small things, I escaped. On my way to Propolis, where we live now, I repaired people's stuff. Nothing big, just some solar panels, power banks, some lamps. I kept on messing with it until I got better and better at it. I joined this mission mostly to get my hands on all this material. There's lots of things that we don't need electricity for. But think of the lives we could save in the hospital in Propolis if we had some electrical equipment up and running. While she was talking, we walk up the stairs to the deck, where we'll have our daily meeting. Her openness surprises me. She's sharing a lot of personal things with someone she hardly knows. "Thank you for sharing," I whisper to the sea once we arrive on deck. That evening, there is a big party on the ship to celebrate the successful end to our mission on the SS Opel. The cooks have prepared a small feast and everybody sits down to share the meal. Like the pineapple the morning before, so much of the food feels like a memory. The years after the Great Change, there was no shortage of good food, but soon many types of food became scarce and people had to find other ways to feed themselves. Some went out hunting, others went on gathering expeditions in riskier areas. In the big cities, entire suburbs were reconstructed so that people could grow their own vegetables. In some places, people starved to death. Other districts saw people organize themselves and share their food with each other. Especially the first winter, in areas where people didn't share and just tried to save their own skin, many folks died. Not just of hunger and illness, also because they lost hope and their loneliness broke them. Food nowadays usually consists of vegetables, plants that are easy to cultivate, like potatoes and apples, or sometimes some kind of cereal mash. Here at sea, we eat a lot of fish. But tonight, a tomato soup starter, pasta dribbling with pesto sauce, and a pudding from a packaged dessert transports me back to another era. I reminisce about the times just after the Great Change, and before that, when we ate these things with our parents. For a room packed with people, it is impressively quiet in the dining hall. The quiet of people lost in memories, transported back to a different time. After the meal, the spoils from the SS Opel are brought out and put on the table in large piles. The entire crew gets to pick and exchange items. Just the things you need, Layla explains. It looks like a marketplace. There are toothbrushes and menstruation products from the old days, along with soaps, creams, and toothpaste. Other tables carry cutlery, bowls, sewing thread, pillowcases, and blankets. There are clothes enough to dress up the entire crew 3 times over, with t-shirts, jackets, and rain gear all printed with SS Opel crew. But there are also some expensive dresses, and I swear I saw a fancy captain's outfit lying around, with golden buttons and a matching hat. I had no idea that so much had been hauled off the cruise ship. Seeing everything exhibited like this, it's hard to believe there is any scarcity. Me too, I ask Deva, and she nods. I find an extra blanket and a warmer jacket that I'll need for this weather. I also pick up a set of plastic cards that I could use if I have to open small lockers. I grab a toothbrush and toothpaste and a hairbrush so I can finally comb my hair. Deva takes a look at my loot. We have toothpaste in our trunk. That's everyone's. There's a hairbrush in there too, she says. I put those things back on the table. Of course, they share everything here. Their fusion isn't only emotional, but material as well. Everybody's having a good time. They play dress up, with Kathy walking around the deck all tough, wearing the captain's gear, bowing and saying "Milady" to everyone. Others put on the dresses, and various corners of the deck are spontaneously converted into theater stages. After the spoils from the SS Opel have been packed again, musical instruments are picked up, and there is time for songs. A fiddle, a banjo, and a washboard fill the room with music. Sometimes the rhythm is slow, sometimes fast. Soon the tables are pushed aside and people start dancing. But not normally, gracefully, the way I was taught on the base, in case I would need to blend in. This dancing is wild and joyous, full of life and grins. I feel incredibly awkward. Some dance together in a circle, others alone, with their eyes closed or in pairs with their arms wrapped around each other. I've been standing in a corner awkwardly, but Layla, Deva, and Kathy drag me to the dance floor. They try to teach me some moves and pull me along. Do these people really expect me to become part of this riotous bunch? Layla grabs my hand and starts an exuberant dance. But I don't want this. This might be a party for them, but I have little to celebrate. Do they expect me to just forget about my life? I push Layla away and pace off toward the deck. Behind me, I can hear Kathy stopping Layla. Just let her be. You're going too fast.
Went out late last night. The moon and stars were shining bright. A storm came up and the trees came down. I tell you all, I was waterbound. Waterbound on a stranger shore. River rising to my door. Carry me home to the field below. I'm waterbound and I can't go home. Carve my name on an old barn wall, so no one would know where I was at all. Sables dry on a winter's night. If you turn your head, you can see the light. Black cat crawling on an old boxcar, a rusty door and a falling star. Ain't got no dime in my bum bag. I'm waterbound and I can't get back. I'm going and it won't be back. If you don't believe me, go count my tracks. The river's long, the river's wide. I'll meet you on the other side. So say my name and don't forget. The water still ain't got me yet. Ain't nothing but I'm bound to roll. I'm waterbound, got nowhere to go. Ain't nothing but I'm bound to roll. I'm waterbound and I can't go home.